Good afternoon from downtown New York. This is Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic. We have just finished day one of the Diddy trial. They say that the majority of jurors decide internally who is the winner of the case and loser case by the time we complete opening statements. With that in mind, I took an informal poll of people who were watching this opening statements this morning. Different journalists, reporters, or attendees of the trial to get their feeling. Who did they think had the stronger opening, the state or the defense? I'm going to break that down together with a lot more detail from this beyond this brief overview I'm going to give you right now. I'll break that down for you guys tonight on my show, that's called The Following Program on my channel, Good Logic. But I just want to give you a quick overview of what we had from the first witnesses to come out. The very first witness brought up by the state was an Officer Flores, who served as security guard in the Intercontinental Hotel. He responded to a call from Cassie Ventura, who was Diddy's girlfriend back in 2016, when he was called on the house phone where she said there was an emergency. And he came up there and there was an incident at that time where she seemed to be trying to leave and he didn't want to let her go. On the video, which was a video that ended up going viral, you see Cassie Ventura coming up to an elevator bank and waiting there, and Diddy storms over wearing nothing but a towel in the middle of the lobby of the hotel, grabs her by the back of the hood and throws her to the floor, and then kicks her a couple of times before he starts dragging her down from the elevator bank area toward the lobby back toward his room. Now, he was called down to the room. He said that Diddy did not seem that aggravated at that time. He seemed to be relatively calm by the time he got up there, but there was some dispute wherein she wanted to leave and he didn't want to let her go. Ultimately, Diddy did let her go. He claimed that she had a purple eye. That was not in his initial report that he had filed. That he filed an incident report on the day of the accident, on the day of this assault, and that was not in there. He said that when he came up there with another gentleman, that Diddy thought that the other guy was holding a phone and talking with his hands, that he was filming him, and he grabbed the phone from him, and that Officer Flores put his arm up against Diddy and held him against the wall, telling him to give the phone back because he grabbed his hand. And Diddy returned the phone, and he was reassured when he saw that that he was not being recorded. Anyway, on cross-examination, after we got to watch on video that entire incident and then marching up and down the hallways, and there was a few videos that they shared there, on cross-examination, he kept getting attacked about the fact that there's all these different details that he put into his testimony that were never in the incident report. And I and most of the people in the room seemed to feel as if Officer Flores handled it well, where he was basically responding saying, if I turn left or I turn right, I don't put everything in the report. I put in things that are important. And Brian Steele, who was doing the cross-examination, pointed out, he's like, so it's not important enough you put in the report, but it's important enough that you remember it 9 years later. And that was his method of attack of this witness in general. You mentioned a purple eye now. You didn't put that in your report. You mentioned that he had a devilish, that he looked like he had a devilish look in his eye, and that he had the look of the devil in his eye, and you didn't put that in your report. And on redirect, it seemed as if the state did a good job pointing out that the report is a summary. He's not going to put everything in that report, and he seemed to get out okay as far as retaining his credibility, in my personal opinion, and a handful of other people who were sitting around me seemed to feel the same way. Second witness up was Daniel Phillip. Daniel Phillip was a man who worked as a manager of an escort company, and one day got a phone call to come down to the Gramercy Hotel for a woman's bachelorette party. And when he got there, he saw Cassie Ventura dressed in lingerie and asking if it could be a party just for one and to see how it goes. And then instead of the regular fee of $200, that she immediately handed him a stack of $100 bills totaling $4,000. this began an ongoing series of interactions between whereby he would come and visit Cassie, and the entire time that Diddy would be sitting there enjoying the spectacle as the two of them would engage in very intimate conduct. I'm not going to get into detail about that right here and now. He also talked about different moments where he saw Diddy verbally abusive and potentially hitting her in the other room, because they would go off into the other room after he would engage with Cassie. He said sometimes they would just leave him there in the room, and Diddy and Cassie would go into a private bedroom, close the door, and that sometimes he would wait there for hours for them to come back out. And when they would come out, sometimes they would ask him to go again, and sometimes they would just send him on his way. And that on two different occasions that he recounted, that he heard from the other room her screaming, saying, I'm sorry, and the sounds of what sounded like Diddy physically attacking her. Anyway, I'm not going to get into the further details about that right now. I will cover all of this later tonight on my show, which is called The Following Program. That's going to be at 10 p.m. tonight. I expect to break down much greater detail. I hope you're going to join me for that. And that's on Good Logic on YouTube. It's also on Rumble. And I will see you all there. And I expect to be back here tomorrow. Make sure that you follow along wherever you're catching me now, because I'm going to be here every day giving you the inside scoop from what's actually happening inside this trial, as opposed to whatever legacy media wants you to know about. Till then, take care of yourselves and Godspeed.